My timing's good. The inability that I have right now to authenticate myself on LinkedIn to even get into my account, and despite the fact I'm paying them, I can't get into my LinkedIn account because I can't authenticate my identity in their system. Something is going wrong, and I'm stuck in a loop. Really gets to the heart of what we want to talk about today. Is you think about your core business assets and your core business structure. And I'm going to go back to eBay. And a lot of people don't remember eBay, but eBay was a big deal when it came out. And a lot of people built their businesses on eBay and they became eBay resellers. And it was one of the most brilliant concepts in the market at the time. And those people thought they had a business, and they did. They owned the business, but they didn't own their product. They were part of eBay's product. And we've seen this cycle repeating in the tech industry as these platforms have come into the market for years now. So we saw the gold rush onto Apple's platform, the App Store. So everybody's building apps to create a product strategy. We saw it with Force.com, with Salesforce. A lot of my clients with my lead generation sales outsourcing company years ago had built their intellectual property on top of the Force.com platform. And their business environment and their business margins and the stuff they had to go through was a nightmare because they did that. So they really didn't fully own their product. Salesforce.com owned their product, and it created all kinds of problems. I couldn't even get a decent commission package from them when I was doing sales for these companies, or a lot of them at the time, because their margins were so bad because of Salesforce. And we're seeing this with LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all of these companies where we've baked our products into their system. So I own my business, yes, but if I'm locked out or if I'm shut down or something changes and then the new flavor of the month platform shows up, I'm on the old one with my product and maybe I did great and now it's done. We've been in this cycle for a long time, and I just saw it start with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT appears to be putting together some kind of marketplace, and I know it. I know it's going to happen already because I've seen it so many times. There's going to be a gold rush onto ChatGPT of people trying to build intellectual property on top of ChatGPT's platform to help ChatGPT make their platform more valuable in the marketplace. And it's going to get crowded. And then there's going to be a bunch of people that flood after them saying, here's how to succeed on ChatGPT. They're going to make all the money. And we see this on Substack right now. It just happened. So a lot of the LinkedIn crowd went on to Substack. Now, if you're on LinkedIn, you can't see this because I can't get into my LinkedIn account. It's just a perfect, hilarious story to illustrate what's going on. And I'm not saying don't use these platforms. We'll get back into LinkedIn. I've been using it since it started almost, but I started making money on LinkedIn back in 2012 and used it to start my virtual company. And without it, it would have been a lot harder. So I'm not saying don't use ChatGPT. I'm not saying don't build an intellectual property product on top of ChatGPT. I'm saying just be aware they own it. And you own your business. So it needs to be integrated into a deeper product structure. Real autonomy means you own it. That's really important. Don't rent success. Owning your platform matters a lot. And the Substack trap is that. And the how to succeed on Substack is useful. So learning how to succeed on Substack and the people selling those programs being in their communities and figuring it out with them is useful. It's just not a business strategy. It's just a tactical tool that's useful to learn in a few weeks. And then at a certain point, you figure out what is my relationship to Substack. That's how I'm looking at it. And I got in Substack probably about 8 months ago, maybe 12 months ago, because I looked at it and I thought, this is awesome. Love it. But I'm not going to build my product on it. It'll just be part of it. And if it turns off, if it fails, Clubhouse, same thing. A lot of people built rooms. If you remember Clubhouse, Clubhouse is going to change the world with audio conferencing. It was super cool. And then it got a flood of people who were already bringing audiences to it. And I thought, I'm not very popular. How am I going to make this work for me? And I did. And I found a stage and I joined a group and I got on panels and tried to create my own rooms and was in other people's rooms. And I did all this stuff. And then Substack started falling apart. This is going to consistently play itself out because the model's so great. And we see it on School right now. That's smaller time. So you're seeing some of the smaller time players like what's going on with School. I'm talking about SKOOL. It's not big money, but it's money. And it's what's next, but it's not. It's eBay. And if you're building your business on School, you don't own your product. They do. They could change their mind. They can decide to go do something else. Now, what are you going to do? Who's winning on School? The people who are selling how to win on School programs. It's fine. Learn it, get out, or use it for sure as a place, perhaps, to funnel people into a real company, or business or product, I would say, because you have a company, of course, it's not theirs. You're part of their product. That's the thing to understand. So just be aware of this and don't let other people control your future because it's going to impact your margins, your reach, and even your access can disappear overnight. It's happened to me and to my clients. And I'll give you a story of the worst case scenario of this that happened to me. I was at the My Morning Jacket concert in Chicago at the Chicago Theater, and I'm checking in. I've talked about this story before, and I'm looking at my website for callsalespartners.com when I had that domain before we changed the name of that company. When I got out of it back in 2020, we rebranded it so it wouldn't have my name on the door, and the website went down. And it was hosted through Google with GoDaddy, the two worst possible places to host a website, Google and GoDaddy. And they took it down. Somebody in Florida got an email from us, didn't like it, and reported us as a spammer to the abuse hotline. And I'll show you how to do it. I learned a lot about email deliverability that week. And then we were spending $4 or $5 grand a month on email deliverability and over $100 grand a year on data to get high quality enough data where we could keep doing what we were doing and not get in trouble with the Google authority. And we did. And they took down the site. Did I do anything wrong? I was doing what everyone else was doing at the time. I wasn't doing anything wrong. And it was high quality spam, folks. Who defines what spam is? Google. And Google, one complaint, my business was taken down. I have people paying me on retainer for this service and I can't function and the site is down. I got out of it. Resourcefulness is important if you're going to be an entrepreneur. I've been kicked in the teeth enough times now where I don't have any left, which means I'm not afraid. There's a certain point where you're just not afraid anymore, where you're like, bring it on. I can handle you, tech industry, because it is the tech industry that's the challenge because they control the platforms. So they're between us and our client. And there's a way around that. That's what's cool today. We just use them, but you don't need them anymore. This is the point. It's a paradox in a way. I'm not saying don't use tech platforms. I'm saying use them wisely. Don't allow them to be integral to the product. If I can never get back into LinkedIn again, I have been building my LinkedIn relationships in that platform since 2012, and it is 2025, and I am locked out of my account. I cannot verify my identity within their system. I'm stuck in an identity verification loop. I did it over and over and over again. It thinks I have two-step verification and it wants me to use an authenticator app that doesn't exist. And I got through this, turned out my account was hacked. That was like a month ago or something. And then it happened again, but my account hasn't been hacked, but they thought I was Chinese. So my entire account went to Chinese from English. And I'm like, what is going on? I got back in through my phone authentication. Um, I verified my identity through something called Personify, I think they call it. And I did all that. And then it worked. And I'm like, oh, it's back. We hooked it back up to Restream. We're all set. 2 days ago, same thing. And I'm like, I did not put on two-step verification validation. I can't because it doesn't work right. And there's some kind of authenticator, on and on and on. Why is this happening? Well, they have a tech industry. They have a tech problem. It's a lot of legacy technology in LinkedIn. It's a mess. Have you looked at their user database, their user experience database and their site search stuff? And if you can't log into your LinkedIn account, there's nothing you can do about it. Google has been working like this. They took my YouTube channel down for a year. The one that says everything we were taught is wrong. I left it up as an artifact for American history. It'll go in the American History Museum someday. The age of Google. This can't last forever. None of these technology platforms last forever. They switch. And if you get stuck in one and it's your core business, you're going to have a big problem. Big problem. Those Salesforce companies, I think, are gone. And they were our worst clients. Our worst clients. Some of the smartest people I've ever met. They were great at their industry. They understood their industry so well. They had built intellectual property and intellectual capital around business processes. One was in consumer packaged goods. The other was in enrollment management for higher education. Their mistake was they built it on top of Salesforce's company, Force.com. So they're selling Salesforce subscriptions for Salesforce. Think about it. Smart for Salesforce. Can you do that? Yeah, if you're big time. I think if you've got millions of dollars or billions, you can get away with those games because you have some relationship and leverage with the tech companies. Then you can do it. But if you're small, like let's say under 100 million, beware. That's all. I know from experience. It's a horrible feeling to realize you don't own your product and you have no control over it. And I looked at these folks and I'm like, all right, now what do you do with Amazon, AWS? So many people are hosting their businesses on Amazon Web Services. I think it's different because you got AWS and you got Microsoft Azure. So you got some choices. You can move from one to the other. How about use both? This is how I look at it. Let's use every single platform. That's how I look at it. Use every platform, but don't build one as an integral part of your business. It's a big mistake. That's what this is about. Real autonomy means you own your product, not just the business. So let's break it down simply. So first, so I'm going to talk about spot the hidden risks of building on rented platforms. And then second, take control of your content, customers, and revenue. Third, shift from dependence to ownership step by step. You don't have to do this overnight. Think like a true entrepreneur 3.0. Clear, confident, and in control. They don't own me. Build something no one can take from you. If you don't own it, you can lose it. Let's fix that now. So one, spot the hidden risk of building on rented platforms. Just write down what is between me and my customer in terms of how I find people, how I communicate with them, and how they turn into paying customers. And when I'm delivering the product itself, what am I using as a platform to deliver that service or product? And look and just calculate it out. Who can shut me off? Everything. Write it all down. Domain, your domain. What if you can't use your domain anymore? I got locked out of my domain.com account. I couldn't get in. I had to verify it with my passport. It took 2 days and hours of tech support calls. Redpillpathway.com. It is renewed. I own it. They control it in their system, however. So I looked at every single vulnerability and then I fixed it. So nobody could make any decision and take me down. That's one. Two, take control of your content, customers, and revenue. My content will be on high level on redpillpathway.com/content. We are building that infrastructure and the entrepreneur content machine. Yes, it has ChatGPT integrated into it. Yes. We're training those models how to think creatively, but we're not just going to use ChatGPT. We'll use every AI system. So if ChatGPT goes sideways like Google did for me and takes a bit, they become the evil overlord, evil empire. It's possible. We don't know yet. We'll see. It won't make any difference. But we're going to use it. It's great. I love ChatGPT, despite the issues with their organizational infrastructure. Is not good yet. That's content. Customers. If people are paying us, we own it as a group. Our corporation owns everything. There is not one tech company that can take us down. Not one. There are vulnerabilities still, but they're being closed one at a time, over time in a long-term strategy. So look at customer delivery as well. That's really important. So if your entire business is coming from a Facebook group, you have a problem. If your entire business is coming from a school community, you have a vulnerability. You may not care, but you will when it happens to you, and it will. I have had this happen to me for years, over and over and over again. Plus, I have worked with thousands of clients, thousands across all industries. It has happened to everybody. This started with Google. When Google started, this was happening in the search engine optimization world. I was at a lot of the conferences where people were terrified. They're like, Google can take down my entire business. So, yes, it can. You're going to have to fix that. Same with Amazon. I was talking to somebody at Half Price Books because I was wondering, I'm like, how much traffic do you get from Amazon Marketplace? And they said, it's significant. I said, what happens if you don't get it anymore? He said, it's fine. I said, good. I love Half Price Books. You guys don't have a problem. Take it. Don't be dependent on it. Revenue is important and profitable revenue is more important. What are your margins? Are you giving up 40% to Amazon for Kindle Direct Publishing? Are you giving up 30% to Apple? I don't know what those numbers are right now, but look at your margins, not just revenue. People talk about revenue all the time. I could say my business years ago was 6 million in revenue. It was 6 million in sales, 7 million in sales, not revenue. It's different. Look at profit margins. Look at your profit. What goes in the bank at the end of the day? How much is going to the tech company or the partners or the whatevers? Take more of your money, keep it for yourself. Third, shift from dependence to ownership step by step. You have to identify the dependencies before you can release yourself from them and have freedom with your business. You have to be honest. People don't want to be honest with themselves. It's terrifying. I'm watching the LinkedIn and Twitter X people going to Substack now. Why? Their revenue's down because the course revenue is down. So they're going to another platform to find more revenue for their model, and they're evolving their model. They're offering now groups again. Some of them offered groups and closed them because they didn't want to do it. They wanted full passive income so they could spend all their time with their family and not have to work at all. Now they have to work again. They have to do groups. So they're rethinking the model and they're going to Substack to do this. So think about step-by-step dependence. Will you be dependent on your Substack audience to pay you? It's not a lot of money in content subscriptions or small communities. There's not a lot of money in it unless it's volume-based. So you got to think about dependence. And it's hard. I know it's hard because you look at it and you feel like, wow, this is a big uphill climb. It's not as hard as you think when you realize what you're really supposed to be doing and how these different systems work. It's actually fairly simple. You just have to be honest with yourself and do it step by step. Think like a true entrepreneur 3.0, through clear, confident, and control. What is the biggest enemy for entrepreneurs today? Number one, Fear. Fear is the enemy. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself is a true statement. A true statement as ever has been stated. Getting out of fear was the secret weapon for me. Secret weapon. How do you get out of fear? Pounded enough over enough years where it's like, okay, I can handle this. Again, again, how do you start to think in a clear way with confidence and in control? Realize you don't need to control anything. That's the secret weapon to this whole thing. How do you get confidence? Know yourself. How do you get clarity? Through confusion and chaos. You walk right through it. And I'm going to tell you a little story about how I got there to some of this that for some may seem bizarre, but it's true. And I know it's true because it's what happened to me. Uh, so 2023 in the summer, I'm having my big inner journey experience, the deepest one. So this is, I've been doing it my whole life, but this is the deepest thing. And I was fully immersed in my own awareness shift of who I am, what I am, and why I matter. In other words, getting into purpose. So there's a good word called dharma, which is hard to define and explain, but it's a great word. But it's not about Buddhism, or it's just dharma is just a way to describe what happened to me and what you are faced with as well, like all human beings are. What it really means is purpose lesson. So it's about the teaching. What am I here to teach myself? And I didn't know what that was, but I leaned into the uncertainty of it in 2023. Started in 2020. So this is the movie The Matrix, the story of the Matrix, first Matrix. And I'm in a park. So I'm not working anymore, but I'm working. So instead of going to get clients for my pilot, or this was the beta test for Red Pill Pathway, and it's in the summer, I'm following inner guided directions only. I'm no longer doing anything that anyone would consider practical. Nothing. That was a scary moment to do, but I wasn't anymore. And I'm like, wow, people think I'm crazy. Doesn't make any difference. I know this feels right because it feels right. So I started studying Sao. It's called Yang Family Secret Transmission Tai Chi. Tai Chi. So from our teacher called it the older brother method. The older brother was Yang Sao from the Yang family, 1800s, and I've been doing it for years. And I started doing it every day again. Energy work, but with martial arts. And I wanted a teacher. And I'd gone and studied with my teacher in the group many times, and I'd been back to see him many times. But I thought I need something different. I don't know what it is though. And I had this feeling, get in the car and go drive. And I did. And I'm like, I'm going to find my teacher today. And I knew it. And I'm walking around and I saw a Korean temple. And I thought, oh, he's going to be Korean. Great. And the door was locked. And I thought, well, that's not it. And this went on for about 2 hours. This is when I'm supposed to be going and looking for clients for Red Pill Pathway for the beta program. And I'm like, no, go keep doing this. And I saw a little park. I was emotional saying this. And I saw a little park. And I went in the park. And all of a sudden, I started doing things I didn't know how to do. And it was really advanced martial arts from like, didn't know from where. And all of a sudden, I just thought of Bruce Lee. And I thought, I'm channeling Bruce Lee's energy because I'd been channeling for a while then. The channeling started well, I've been doing it my whole life. I just didn't know what it was. But it's what Napoleon Hill talks about in his Invisible Council mastermind. That's called channeling. We know more about that in our society. We've always known this. It's just was so taboo. You can't talk about it. Everybody thinks you're nuts. But it's true. It's real. And I'm like, who's my Tai Chi teacher? It's not Tai Chi anymore. It's Jeet Kune Do. What does Jeet Kune Do mean? The way of the intercepting fist. It's Bruce Lee's method. And I thought, I'm learning martial arts from Bruce Lee. And I started reading more about him. And I started watching the movies. And I thought, this is happening. And then I thought of The Matrix, the scene where Neo is learning Kung Fu from the program. And I thought, this is how this works. And they know, the Wachowskis who made The Matrix, this happened to them, or they wouldn't understand. I know because I had the same experience. This was summer of 2023. And now it's not Bruce Lee anymore. It's just me. And this is what happens. The channeling ends. And there's a moment where it's just you. In other words, the energy of the world is in you, coming in you, and allowing you to realize your purpose in the world. This will happen to you too in your own way. And it doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is you do it your way. And there is nothing more powerful than this. Nothing. Build something no one can take from you. How do you do that? It's anchored in purpose, dharma. And this purpose and the reason I've been doing this for 30 years and the energy work is obvious to me now. It wasn't at the time. But when I stopped, I felt like this is going to be the biggest regret of my life, that I don't finish learning this. And I went back to see my teacher. This was years ago. And now it's who I am. It's not a thing I do. It's who I am. And Bruce Lee's daughter wrote a book, about water, Be Like Water. And I'm like, I understand. And if you don't own it, you can lose it. No one can take this from me. It's in me. It is me. It flows into me and out into the world through me. And that's what Bruce Lee was teaching. Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fists. It means I am this without form. That's what it is. And when that happened, I thought, this can't be real, but I know it's real. Then what's the work? Trust yourself, trust your destiny, trust your dharma pathway. That becomes the work in business. And I thought, how is it possible we haven't connected these hemispheres as a society? And then I thought, we are now. I could not understand how Napoleon Hill, law of attraction, Esther and Jerry Hicks, and all of the Neville Goddard law of assumption kind of stuff connects with water method martial arts, Buddhism, Christianity, and Vedic philosophy, Hinduism, all of it. It's all this, it all connects. And when that happened, I felt like no one can take this from me. This is mine because it's me. And I'm bringing that out of the world. And you can do the same. And this is not about spiritual elevation. This is not about some special kind of gift. We all have a gift. Everyone has a special gift. What is yours is the work. And when you have that, then you'll be able to use all these systems the way you want. They won't own you anymore. You won't be just part of ChatGPT's marketplace, which is what seems like it's coming. You will no longer be trapped on Substack with subscription revenue from their model, because you'll have found your own way, because you have a destiny to fulfill, not a popularity contest to win online. These tools allow us to do this because they allow us to find our people. This is how I've used it. This is what it did. And the fact that I'm locked out on LinkedIn is just frustrating. And I'm going to tell you something about the Entrepreneur Experience product and why it's so valuable. We have a meeting later today. It's a technology relationship session with Jesse Storch, tech guru, IT expert extraordinaire. And I'm going to bring my problem to him today. And he's going to help me think through it. Because what he taught me about technology is it's not the technology, it's your relationship to the technology, and that I need to accept it and I need to slow down. Thank God I have this kind of help today, and I don't have to do this alone anymore. And this is what this is all about.